Hey Transformers fans, coming at you again with another video looking at a custom paint job on another Transformers figure. This time taking a look at the paintwork that I did on the Transformers Prime Voyager-class Megatron figure. And wow, I mean, what a difference a little bit of paintwork can make on this guy. This was a mold that the detail work on it was really nice and show accurate, but the paint colors, or not the paint colors, but the plastic colors, and the fact that hardly anything on him was actually painted, you know, really made the figure look, you know, kind of crummy in the box. Like it wasn't one of the ones that really, you know, a lot of collectors went nuts for, just because the colors and the deco on it was just so like meh. It was just not really indicative of what the figure or what the character was like in the show. It was this dull kind of beigey brown plastic, and then, you know, the cannon was like a brown, and it was just strange color choices all around for a figure that should have just been silver or just plain gray. So basically that's kind of what I did on this guy, and it was, you know, a really extensive paint rework on him because I had to do the whole figure. So everything got disassembled, all the ball joints got popped off, anything that could have been disassembled got disassembled, and I really spent a lot of time on it because I didn't actually spray paint him. And, you know, hindsight, I probably should have. It would have made it a lot easier, but when I did this guy, which was a long time ago, I was doing everything by hand and brush. So I suffered through and, you know, used a nice thin coats of silver paint, you know, thinned out silver paint, and this is the end result. So I'm pretty happy with them, but I certainly put probably a lot more time in it than I needed to or should have to get the same result. But one of the things that I did with this guy that was a little unusual or a little different from some of the other repaints I've done is that I actually had to custom blend some of the color, specifically the purple that I use on his cannon, on the inside of his arms, and certain other accents, because the purple that I had, which was a Tamiya purple paint, didn't really match the color that was needed from the show, and I tried to get as show accurate as possible. So what I actually had to do was custom mix the stock purple with a little bit of the dark metallic gray, not the silver, but the darker metallic gray. And what that did was that gave me a purple color that actually has, it's that darker hue, which I needed, but it also has a little bit of a metallic element in it. So it really turned out really, really nice when you look at the figure up close. Other than that, I mean, the color choices on this guy was pretty straightforward. It's all silver. You know, the inner parts are a kind of gunmetal gray or dark metallic gray. As you can see, I also have the Dr.Wu dark saber, which is a fantastic accessory to get if you have this figure. I mean, it's really well done, and it makes the figure look really, really cool if you have his mean, nasty looking saber. Yeah, so one other thing that I want to call out, and I know that you can kind of see it on here, but there's actually like a brushed metal texture in the plastic itself. It's not just a flat, you know, a flat texture in the plastic. So when you do add paint to it, it really gives it that kind of that really kind of cool machined metallic look and texture to it. So it makes it really pop a lot more. Little Repro label logo on him. Obviously he needed a Decepticon logo. And one of the things that I did was he originally had you know, the light piping and the purple eyes and all that stuff. Well, in the show he only had purple eyes for a portion of it. So what I did was I actually took the whole thing apart and painted the eyes red. It's tough to see. You can kind of see it there, but he needed red eyes, so I gave him red eyes. And then a little bit of a wash on his face to make it darker. So, you know, there's a bunch of different elements that I put in here. His arms, the inside of his arms used to be a translucent purple to go with the powerizer gimmick of his cannon. But I just painted those up to be the same color that he needed in the show. Again, going all show accurate. Yeah, so that's kind of like the general idea. I mean, everything's basically painted silver. You know, Decepticon logo I added there as well, just so that he has one in bot mode, or in vehicle mode. And he obviously still does fully transform. No problems there. One thing that I do want to call out on the cannon is you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed or not, you might have, but his blade, the blade on his cannon, I have now permanently out. Because if you recall, it kind of shot out and then shot back in when he wanted it. But what I've done is I figured out that because the way this thing is built, you can actually manually just, if you hold everything together so that the cannon doesn't do its like spring-loaded thing, if you hold the cannon so that it's not activating the spring, then you can just take these and pivot them on the posts because it's just a friction fit on the posts, right? You can kind of position it however you want. So what I do is I make sure that I hold this pretty tightly, this bottom piece, so that it's not collapsing in, and then I just swing this out, swing this up like that, and then what you'll see is you can have it permanently stuck out, which makes it look really, really cool when he's just sort of standing there in bot mode with his big cannon and the blade hanging out. I mean, it looks really mean and nice. So, and one thing that, you know, I do want to call out is, you know, it does still do the powerizer gimmick, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but the light is still in there, but it doesn't really do anything. I left the end of the barrel kind of translucent because when you look on it straight on, it looks kind of cool, like it's, you know, you're looking into the barrel instead of just painting over that. So that works still pretty good. But yeah, so I'm just gonna fix this back up here. But that's my custom Voyager Transformers Prime Megatron, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I'm really glad that you know, I did end up getting this mold in spite of the fact that, you know, people kind of had you know, differing opinions on whether or not it was even worth picking up. You know, a lot of the collectors that, you know, maybe did not pick him up are regretting it now because there's been so many people that have repainted it, you know, and it looks so good, are probably, you know, wishing that they had picked it up. And I, you know, certainly I'm glad that I have him on my shelf. And just to do one little comparison, because what would be, you know, a look at a really nice looking Megatron if you didn't compare him to a really nice looking Prime. So there he is next to my first edition Prime. And again, you know, heavy detail work on this guy. Not quite as extensive as what I did on Megatron, but I did do a lot of paint work on him. And I'll do probably a separate video on him, but just lots of silvers, lots of grays to bring out the detail and make him look more show accurate. And of course, he's got his Star Saber, again, from Dr.Wu. You know, those really are fantastic accessories to have if you've got these two guys. But you know, with a little paint work, if you've got these two molds, they look awesome together. I mean, they looked awesome on their own, but with a little bit of paint work, they look even better. So hope you enjoyed this look at my customized, custom painted Transformers Prime Voyager-class Megatron. Hope it inspires you to maybe do a little bit of paint work of your own. You know, make your figures look how you want them to. Anyway, I would appreciate if you could, you know, give a like or a comment or subscribe. Let me know what you think. That would be awesome. I would really appreciate it. So thanks very much for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.